Would you like to learn why I believe that Dowge or DJI6930 will skyrocket to $10 per token by the beginning of 2026? And why I believe the 70% drop that has happened with Dowge is the best thing that could have happened to Dowge. My name's the Superman, your superhero of 100 to 1000x gems. And the market today is looking quite spectacular. We are potentially seeing the beginning of the great move between now and the end of the bull market, the beginning of 2026 or end of 2025. So, what we have got right now is we have got money going into larger cryptocurrencies, and we are finally seeing a signal that altcoin season is going to be happening. And by altcoin season, I don't mean every altcoin. I do mean that altcoins, i.e. cryptocurrencies that are not Bitcoin, are going to be skyrocketing in the euphoria stage of this market. And what we are seeing right now is the beginning. Typically what happens, as this is what has always happened in the past, is that the money firstly goes into Bitcoin, then large caps. And we have predominantly seen that Bitcoin has had a variety of seasons in the last few years. You know, Bitcoin has essentially dominated the cryptocurrency market. So where we see the orange patches here, this is where we have seen Bitcoin seasons. And where we see the red patches here, as you can see signaled by the kind of red heat map, is that there have been a very minimal and short-lived number of altcoin seasons, right? It's just gotten worse and worse since 2017. 2017, 2018, 2021, bit of 2022, we have seen large amounts of altcoin. We have seen large durations of altcoin seasons. But now we are seeing much more sparse ones. Having said that, what we have seen in the past, this was basically the 2017 bull market. This was 2021 bull market, is that we are seeing diminishing returns on altcoins. And that to me signals the potential end of altcoins, right? Where we are going to be seeing only very special altcoins actually standing the test of time and being able to outperform Bitcoin. Now, where I believe this was the previous model of the money flow cycle, I believe the present model looks more like this, which is that actually meme coins are where people are most inspired to put their money. Why? Because meme coins represent an asset that is devoid of the smart money, the VCs, right? The VCs and the people with a lot of money in crypto, essentially the establishment in crypto, are the ones that are pumping layer ones and trying to make certain narratives take off, and it just doesn't work anymore, right? So what we are seeing now is that the money flow is going towards meme coins because there isn't that wealth disparity where you've got the founders, the VCs, the influencers that are in at an early stage, the ones that hold the majority of the tokens and the majority of the money, right? The retail investors are no longer as stupid as they used to be. Okay, there is a lot of stupidity, but they are not as stupid because now there are meme coins that enable for people to become rich very quickly if you get it right. Now, what we have had since 2023 is we have had almost a full spectrum cycle with meme coins where actually the meme coin asset class has completely changed, right? You know, from what it used to be. What it used to be was we would typically see that we would have Bitcoin, Ethereum, large caps, alt season, and then at the end of alt season, we would have a kind of very short-term meme season, and that would typically top off that alt season rally, and then it would go back into fiat or back into Bitcoin, right? For Bitcoin to have another run. And that's typically what has happened in the past. Now, what we have had since kind of 2022, end of 2022, is we have had meme coins going from that end of alt season asset to invest in for the like blow off, and then it's back to fiat or Bitcoin. We have had meme coins going through such evolution that now what we have got is we have got a certain batch of meme coins that are considered the equivalent of your Bitcoins, Ethereums, Cardano, Chainlink, XRP. Now meme coins are actually considered a serious investment where they weren't before. And so I believe because memes have been the focal point since 2022, we have seen actually very mediocre, if not pathetic gains in most of the normal altcoins. Right now, meme coins, because they have had such hype since 2022, I believe in this euphoria stage, this is where they are going to have their biggest concentration of money appreciation, hype, and new retail money coming into it. So whilst I don't think this is necessarily the new norm, I think it's actually a combination of both, where it's not alt season necessarily, whereas it's mainly just strong assets. And these days, these are meme coins. And actually, you are seeing traditional finance and VCs actually doing a lot with meme coins. I've got so many contacts that have never touched meme coins, and all of a sudden, they want to run some kind of cabal with me. Right? They're like, Supo, let's work together, basically. I've typically only invested in Solana, Sui, those big coins, right? Now, I'm venturing into meme coins. Let's do it together. Because essentially, I'm one of the biggest meme coin influencers. So they want for me to kind of push out their narratives. And I'm seeing this all over the place. So basically, there's a big pivot. It's no longer the case that it's just layer ones, your gaming, or these single narratives that kind of play out. It's really just the strong of the altcoins, right? The strong of the mid, low, micro cap altcoins that are going to really truly win. So having said that, I'm now going to discuss the elephant in the room, and that is Dowge. Okay. Now there is no chart. There is no chart. Okay. So this is a temporary. Lapse in focus. Okay. But I just want to take you through some very, very important things you've probably never seen before. First of all, Dowge has bottomed. It's bottomed. Why? Because now it has hit the previous support, right? So, the previous resistance. So the previous resistance when it first came out is that it kind of dwindled around this 30k zone, right? Dwindled in it for a while. And then it broke out to an $87 million market cap. And now it's gone back to 27 million. So essentially retrace the entirety of that position. And you may think this is a bad thing. This chart looks awful. No, it doesn't. Because the strongest cryptocurrencies have experienced a 70% drop. And it's what they do from there. And the strongest cryptocurrencies are tested cryptocurrencies. They've had their community tested, the faith and belief tested, the price action tested. And that's the only way they grow. You cannot grow if it's just a straight line up and there's no challenge, there's no adversity, there's no one questioning because all they're getting is just gains, right? And then when the party stops, it's really going to be the ultimate crash. So what you need with any cryptocurrency is you do need to shake out the people who are going to do this anyway. All right? So what we have got with Dowge is we have got, surprisingly actually, is we have actually got a near all-time high in terms of the amount of hodlers. Okay, so the amount of hodlers in Dowge is actually at its highest that it's ever been, despite what's happening with price. So when Dowge actually went to 87 million market cap, there were less than 10,000 hodlers. Now, there are near 16,000 hodlers as we are 70% down from, the all-time high, right? And that means that because people, on the trajectory of Dowge going up, there were so many people that were seeing it going up, there was no entry point. Now with this crash, two things have happened. The people who are gamblers, the people who were always going to sell, they just look at multipliers, they look at the charts, they're impatient, they're saying, oh, Dowge needs to go on this, needs to get listed here, Dowge needs to do this, Dowge Dev needs to do more, right? Those are impatient people that are literally on a tightrope. You'll know. You look in Telegram, you'll know. Right, bear with me 1 second. Let me just share this over to the good people of X. I believe that there is some form of outage on YouTube at the moment, so people may not have gotten their notifications. So therefore, I shall do my best to publicly announce. There we are. So there's a tightrope. There's a tightrope. You can see these people. They're in the forums everywhere. They are impatient, wanting something to happen immediately. They want Binance and Coinbase within the first month. They want it to go to 1 billion within the first month. And if it doesn't, it's like, oh, this looks sketchy, right? And those are the people that don't even fit in with the culture of Dowge anyway, because the culture of Dowge is no charts, no TA, no paid shills, nothing that is going to make it, some form of manipulative play, right? It's got to be the case that it is an organic, natural, and faith-based community. So, by it going down, Dowge has increased, A, the number of hodlers, and B, the number of labour that's going to be going out and going to be making memes about Dowge, being part of the community when they didn't have a chance at the beginning. They were priced out of getting into it because it went up so fast, so quick. But now people are getting into it, and people now have an opportunity to be Dowge, get to be part of Dowge. When you are in Dowge, you are Dowge, right? So everybody now, everybody collectively that's still in Dowge now has benefited from the drop in Dowge, because the only people that were in it that have sold are people we didn't want in it in the first place, okay? They are people that are fickle and gambling and trading and, they're cheats. We don't want cheats anyway. So 2 big things have beneficially happened as a result of the drop. Secondly, this is probably the most important thing, right? So let me just show you this, right? MEXC is the 21st biggest wallet of Dowge, okay? Now you may think, well, so what? Well, let me show you so what, right? So this is their wallet. And as you can see here, they are constantly buying more and more Dowge. Now, why would they be doing that? Why would they be doing that if they didn't believe that this could be big for their platform? So let's just go back to the beginning. 13 days ago was when they were starting, right? And they were buying 73,000 tokens, 12, 33, 34. And they were buying incrementally, right? Incrementally. And this is after, because the all-time high was achieved 20 days ago. So they have been buying after. Therefore, they have been accumulating Dowge across this time. And so the balance started at 78,000 Dowge tokens. And now they have got near 10x that. No, 100x that. Yeah, 70,000 to near 7 million, right? So they are constantly loading on. When they're selling hardly any. They are buying way more than they are selling. Now, this is smart money, right? The price of Dowge has gone down so dramatically, and now is the opportunity to load up. Because when these guys when MEXC put Dowge on their decks, right? That was them saying, we like this token. We want to benefit. I mean, at the end of the day, there is no philanthropy in being an exchange, right? They're not doing it for the greater good. They're doing it to make money, to get more users, to basically become as big as Binance. MEXC and all exchanges all want to be Binance and Coinbase. They're not just like, oh, we're happy being a tier 1 or tier 2 exchange. We want to be the premier tier exchange. We want to be the number 1. And the only way they can do that is by continuously trying to, basically, they are community farming, a little bit like what YouTubers do. They're community farming. But they don't have a YouTube channel. The only way they can do community farming is by buying the tokens they like and by showing their interest in it, just like how a YouTuber would do by making videos about a certain subject. So, Mexi, last week, because I was going to talk about this on either last Monday or last Friday, Mexi were the 60th biggest wallet. Yeah, I had to go to the second page. Halfway down the second page, I found Mexi. Now they are in near the top 20. Right? They have near 1% of the supply. That's mega. To have 1% of the supply. That means they, being the smart money, are accumulating. Over the last 13 days, they have 100x their holdings of Dowge because they clearly see that in the bull market, this is going to rip. Now, of course, Mexi, like it or not, is one of the most used exchanges, right? It's one of the friendliest in terms of, you know, it allows most nations to be able to use it, right? Now, Binance, you know, they've moved out of the US, and now they've got Binance.us. You know, a lot of these exchanges, when they get too big, they become unfriendly to the end user. Mexi is the most friendly. Now, yes, people say certain things about Mexi. Doesn't really matter, right? Because Mexi are looking to be the next Binance. And the only reason where they're going to get there is if they build a very strong treasury of assets. And the fact that they have, you know, the fact that they have got near 7 million coins in their treasury means that they do believe this is going to make them a lot of money in the coming market. And this is the time to get into it. So ever since this has been dropping, they have been buying more. Okay, they are consistently buying more. Like yesterday, they bought, you know, nearly 400,000 tokens. Like they're consistently DCAing in. Consistently DCAing in. So now we have got an asset that has pretty much kicked out a lot of the cheats that we didn't want anyway. Because at the end of the day, you know, how we fell in the first place, right from up here, is because of a major cheat. Okay? So if we, let's just put 200,000 as look, this idiot here actually sold a humongous amount. And actually, you know, they sold another 100k. And these are the people, really, that, you know, that we had in huge numbers. Okay, so this person is, I believe, still a holder and actually has bought quite a lot since it's gone right down, right? But the good thing about going from 87 million down to 24 million is that we have flushed out the masses of these people. Okay, so if we have 1 or 2 or maybe even 10 or 20, it's not a big deal. But if there are thousands that are in it for a quick buck, then those are the people that are going to eventually dump on it as it gets towards its trajectory of trying to flip the Dow Jones, right? So we have destroyed a big network of cheats. Not all, but significant enough that from here we can go back up, especially as the market has basically recovered. Now, another one of the big reasons why I love Dowge, DJI6930, is because of the community. The community is 90% of the effort. The community, right? Because there's lots of cryptocurrencies out there that maybe have hundreds of thousands of holders, but most of them do not give a stuff about the coin. Some of them are probably airdropped. Some of them probably have a couple of, you know, maybe $20, $10, even a couple of dollars in these coins, right? But Dowge has got a community of incredibly loyal and noisy and delusional people, of which I am one of them, but that delusion means results, right? And so by having a crazy community of a gigantic size, so look at the artwork, look at the efforts being made by the Trinites, okay? This is not what you get really anywhere. Like, of all the coins I've seen, Momo, Manu, like those communities are pretty much gone now. Like that, you do not see this kind of noise. You do not see this much artwork, and you do not see the kind of crazy loyalty and commitment of the holders for those coins as you do with Dowge. Like Dowge is a very special one. Like this is a movement coin. The difference between a movement coin and a meme coin is that a meme coin kind of has some relevance just for a little space of time. It's very temporary. Like people are kind of, you know, they like it for a little bit because it's probably got some kind of temporary appeal. You know, it's maybe, you know, I don't know, referencing some kind of event, or it's referencing some kind of figure like the Ibiza boss or whatever. But they die out very quick. It's rare that you get continuous, you know, community development and people coming into the community after their initial hype. Whereas this one is evergreen in terms of hype. And that's why it just keeps on amassing more and more people into the community, right? And that is gold, because community equals value, right? In the long term, all right? Maybe in the short term, you know, what happened with the chart of Dowge is very similar to what happened with Momo and Manu, right? They started low, in a very short space of time, they were up over $50 million, right? Or in the case of Momo, over 30 million, anyway, 40 million. But then they don't come back. You know, they kind of die off and don't come back because it was never too strong in the first place. And that's because they didn't have anywhere near the kind of substance that Dowge has, okay? And when I say substance, this is what I mean, all right? You do not have, let's just imagine that there was a meme coin that basically covered everything that a person is interested in, right? Now, meme coins really, as an asset class, stand on their own. You've got layer ones, exchange coins, RWA, AI, gaming, metaverse, privacy, etc., meme coins, right? And each of them are all siloed. They are all singular narrative cryptocurrencies. But what if there was a cryptocurrency that was essentially everything? That was multi-narrative, that was the crypto equivalent of the Dow Jones? Well, in my opinion, this is the only one that is. Because Dowge is an index of various different narratives. Firstly, AI, then RWA, then movement, then cult, then faith, then Wall Street, then mascot. Like, it actually touches upon many sub-segments of meme coins and major narratives like AI and RWA. So therefore, Dowge is basically appealing in any narrative in alt season. Okay, so you may have RWA, DeFi, all of this stuff, AI, and you only have your AI coins or your RWA coins that are relevant at that particular time. And then only meme coins are relevant when it's a meme coin season. But what you've got with Dowge is you've got something that is basically evergreen relevant, because it touches on so many narratives. It is a very humanistic cryptocurrency in that, and that's what is meant by the 99% coin, in that it concentrates on the majority of people. So where you've got crypto right now as a kind of, it's an asset class that has been somewhat legitimized and mainstreamed, okay, by ETFs, by Donald Trump. You know, you've got people that actually know now that it's safe to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I've been around since 2017. I've been in the trenches since 2017. I have seen it all, right? And I remember back at that time, when I was talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum to family members or friends or anybody I knew, they all were like, no, this is evil, this is dark, this is criminal territory. Yeah, this is what's used for drugs, this is what's used for online, you know, dark web stuff, right? This is where you're going to end up, you know, upsetting some kind of triad or something, you know, Chinese triad. You don't get involved in it. That's what people used to say. Now, most people that I know are in cryptocurrency. They have bought into cryptocurrency because they feel safe. And so crypto has kind of lost its anti-establishment, its kind of grassroots rebel against traditional finance, kind of disposition, right? It's not like that anymore, right? And so you have now got an extension of Wall Street in cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana, and other major cryptocurrencies. These have essentially also been, these have also been legitimized by Wall Street and I think society as well. And so therefore, the wealth disparity continues. So the wealth gap, is still there because, founders, VCs, they are still within that kind of maybe boomer, maybe Gen Y kind of age range, right? And so they're still getting rich while the normal retail, the 99% of people still kind of just go poor. They kind of are exit liquidity. They get in too late. They buy something because all the YouTubers are talking about it. They buy Chainlink, they buy Ondo, they buy, basically all these crap, really overvalued coins. And they make a 2x. If they're lucky, if they got in right, most of them will actually lose 2x from their entry point, right? So this is a coin that takes crypto right back to its grassroots, being for the people, being for people that believe, not for it's already legitimized. Like if Dowge was already in the billions, then it would feel in some way legitimized, a little bit like SPX does. So this takes it back to its anti-establishment roots, right? And it's for the people. And it's for the people because when crypto was in its early stages, that was when it was a money-making opportunity. It was when it was a money-making factory. And when you got into Bitcoin early, Ethereum early, and you made a lot of money holding them, like I have, because I've been around since then. But if you're coming around in the modern day, everything's too high in market cap, they're not going to make you rich. Crypto has become just a slightly better version of the stock market. Until you find coins like this, which really require belief. Like this is hard work. What I have found in the last week is that since the price has gone down, people have been very worried, and this is what's very annoying about the people that are maybe still around and need to be kicked out of Dowge, is that when you are looking at the chart, you are therefore not a belief-based holder. You are a price-based holder, a multiplier-based holder, and we just don't need that because community effort and belief is what equals the price, not just some extra money. Because that money can come and go. We won't just we don't want every cheat and trader coming in just to make a quick buck and bugger off, right? We don't want it to appeal to them. We want an actual faithful community, and that's what you get with Dowge, more than you get with any other meme coin of its market cap level. Next up, this, right? The longer that Dowge is out, the more it ekes out the people that are not part of the Dowge cult, right? So the Dowge cult is belief-based first, right? TradFi is the enemy, not each other. So it's not player versus player, it's player versus environment. It's Dowge versus, Bitcoin versus Dowge versus SPX versus Dow Jones versus the 1% versus the society that is trying to turn everybody against each other. So that's the enemy, right? So it's player versus environment. There's no sell. You are Dowge, belief over greed. And something that we have definitely noticed is that greedy people have gone, because they took their money and they left. So therefore, it gives a more pure asset. Something that can build from a 70% loss rather than something that continuates that 70% loss. And then, of course, the kind of foundational beliefs of those in Dowge, which is buy, believe, and broadcast, and manifest the flippening. And the ultimate target of one DJI6930 equals 29,999, which therefore equals the flippening. And that leads me to this, which is that people need to believe in the long-term financial target of Dowge, right? The internal target is so important for the overall growth. If there is no internal target, if it's just literally simply a meme coin icon or mascot that doesn't stand for anything, it just is, right? Just like all of the, you can go on Deck Screener right now. There's a mascot. There are tens of thousands of mascots. They mean nothing. They don't inspire people. They certainly don't, bring out a kind of, or evoke a kind of spiritual feeling or foundation around it. They are just there as vehicles for money. This is not a vehicle for money. This is a belief system. You don't go to church or pray or do it. And I'm not equating this because I am Catholic myself. I am not equating this. I'm not being blasphemous. But you don't believe in something bigger and broader than you, higher than you, for monetary benefit. You do it because you just believe, right? Now, we are in the game of cryptocurrency, but this is essentially an experiment of how high can we go to flipping the 1% of not only money, but society as well. And so really, it is just belief at its core. And the more believers, the more value, the more craziness, the more sharing and viability of the target, that therefore the target is a potential self. What's that? Self-fulfilling prophecy. All right. So therefore, the tenets remain the same. The tenets are what they are, and people will say in the comments, "Oh, I don't believe this is going to happen. I don't believe this is going to happen." Right? Well, then you're in the wrong place, because I believe it's going to happen, and whether or not it does happen or not. Look at the price it is today, 2.9 cents, versus here, which is $29,000. Now, there is quite literally the most humongous delta between the two numbers. And so, therefore, the upside in moving towards this number is so gigantic. Think of it. It's 2.9 cents right now. Like, really, what can be achieved from here is potentially unfathomable. Like, it's limitless. And the thing is that we are only at the beginning. Like, at this point, I have spoken about it multiple times. Joe Parry's has talked about it once, and Crypto Gains has talked about it once, right? But they both still hold, their positions, right? So that means that it's purely going to be, because when Trash and all those other dumb coins, Moonbag, all these shit coins eventually just disappear because they're worthless, then eventually, the long-termers are what's going to be what stands out and what makes the biggest gains. And so therefore, this is going to ultimately win, and not only win, but win in a big way. And lastly, movements are the best type of meme coin. Meme coins, they for the most part, 99.999, it's actually easy to just say 100% of meme coins are utter shit. And there's just a tiny 0.1% of meme coins in terms of quantity actually have any real value, right? So meme coins is very much a gamble. Like, you're more likely to be investing in a total dog than a success story. Success stories are groomed. They're not accidental. With Bonk, Shiba, Doge, they were all groomed. Right? They had insiders from the beginning. They were groomed from the start. They were made to be successful, and the people that were in them were already successful. They were already influencers or insiders that had money, and they were money networks that were essentially sharing with other networks, right? That's why, for the majority, for 100% of the time, virtually, meme coins will end in failure, will end in loss. Whereas movements, there are so few movements. There's only a handful of movements that I can think of in cryptocurrency. And therefore, it stands out. They are more unique. They are more inspiring. They have more of a hodl mentality, right? And the speed of adoption is a lot quicker. And you can see that just purely by how quickly the community grew for Dowge, right? It's purely because people want something to believe in. People want some form of spiritual fulfillment. I won't say enlightenment because that sounds a bit corny, but people want some form of spiritual fulfillment because we are living in a society that is so devoid of that wherever we can get it, it feels kind of like home, right? And what you have got in society right now is people versus each other, people very, very lonely, people very, very hateful, people very, very segregated, right? And the meaning of God, a religion, and something higher is dissipating all the time, and it's more likely that people are actually gravitating towards Satan and the devil, right? The behaviors, you know, the degeneracy, it's just a very negative world. It really is a very negative world. When you're in Dubai, it's the complete opposite of that. And that's where you can appreciate that in the West, it's totally fucked, right? And so Dowge provides that spiritual fulfillment. It really does. It's a very spiritually fulfilling coin. And the thing is that at the end of the day, the only one of all the coins that even have, all the various different factors or different narratives that DJI6930 fits within, that are the same as all the major coins, is that DJI6930 has everything, whereas most cryptocurrencies are deficient in 2 or 3, or in some cases, 9 things, right? But at the end of the day, the only one that's a micro cap is Dowge, and now more than ever, because it's now fallen 20 million below micro cap status. So that means it's more micro cap than ever, and yet has all of the various, different very, very bullish narratives going on for it, all the bullish storytelling. It's a movement, it's got a cult community, it's decentralized in terms of token holders, the spread of token holders and what they hold. It's decentralized. It's TradFi friendly, which most cryptocurrencies, most meme coins are just not. If you're looking in the trenches, if you're looking at cryptocurrencies of the same market cap value of DJI6930, none of them are TradFi friendly. None of them. And Momo, Manu, GME, they're not TradFi friendly. They are just, Labubu, all these ones, right? They're cool, they're sweet, but they are not TradFi friendly. TradFi are not going to find them in any way interesting unless they reach in the billions of market cap. So it needs to be something that has that factor, something that just actually would terminology wise appeal to TradFi and look and appearance to. Commercial mascot, obviously the best meme coins of all time have that. Doge, Shib, Pepe, etc. They're all commercial mascots, and so is DJI6930, where SPX6900 is not, right? Meme content, extremely rich with DJI. It's an RWA coin, normie friendly, non-inflationary, it's fully diluted, and it's the only one that's a market cap. Of the main tokens, of which, of the main factors of which, these tokens appeal to, DJI6930 has them all and is a micro cap. So to me, it's the one most best placed, right? So, in my opinion, the 70% drop in Dowge is a great thing, okay? Because you build from here. And at the end of the day, I do believe that the kind of altcoin, the money flow cycle that we're going to be seeing is going to resemble more something like this than like this. So if you are in Chainlink, Polkadot, Polygon, and all these relics of crypto past that now most of the VCs have exited, like the liquidity is no longer there, the interest isn't there, no one's bothering to hype it anymore. Like this is now, it's more this than it is this. Okay, so if you want to be capitalizing on a new money flow system, then to me, Dowge is the best asset to be in. But at the same time, you have got to be, in my opinion anyway, of the kind of community holder that does adhere to this. Because it's only by adhering to this that you actually get the result you want. You're not going to get the result you want if you're saying, there should be more exchanges, there should be more volume, there should be this, there should be that. They should be doing all this shit, right? And the thing is that Dowge is just barely over a month old. And the people that have actually done the best in Dowge are the ones that subscribe to the tenets of Dowge, right? The ones that believe, right? Because the people that didn't believe at first, when it made a first 10x, people were out. I remember when it went to, you know, 20 million, and straight away down it went to 7 million. Right? Because people didn't believe. They were cheats. They were going to leave anyway. Right? Best to get them out. Best to take the pain of getting them out for the long-term future. And every time we have had some form of retracement or correction, there's always been a comeback. And I believe that it's now well placed to make a massive comeback from here. Right, there we are, people. That is my 2 cents on the matter for today. How long have I been online, essentially? By the way, people, if you could, I would be very, very pleased if you could tap a like on this video. Let me just join you. Let me just get the video. And then just tap that like. Tap it. Makes me happy, and I'm sure it gives you some form of spiritual fulfillment at the same time. Right, let me have a look and just see. Let me just have a look and just see some of the comments. We still need more buyers to let more buyers to come. All in good time. You know, it's stupidity like that that's actually... It's comments like that that just show you're not of this. It's what you should be saying is, I believe, I still believe. That's it. Instead of like, oh, we need more of this. Stop being so stupid. Do you still believe in Spom, Negan, or magic? I only believe in, you know, what has the capability of being successful. Who has the most Dowge in... When I bought Dowge, I made 20k profit, didn't sell one coin. Do you regret? Well, this is the thing. There's no room for regrets. Right? This is our thing. Right? SPX have their thing. Great. You know, they're a lot of them were early holders. A lot of them have made lots of money. A lot of people are getting into it now that it's incredibly overvalued and hoping that they will make money. Right? They are not in a good position, in my opinion anyway. Right? But the way to thrive is to be a hodler. I mean, this is what happened back in 2017. You know, when I got into Ethos, right? I got into it at 5 cents. Do you not think that when it hit 50 cents? And I was in cryptocurrency for like 3 months at this point, right? When it got to 50 cents, I could offload for 10x. When it went to $5, I could have offloaded I didn't offload a single penny until it went to, you know, until it hit over $13 and then came back on its way down to 10 is when I started to sell, right? It had made a ginormous trajectory from 5 cents to $13 and I didn't sell a single bit of it. And I wasn't going and saying to them, oh, try and get on this, try and get on that, try and get... because Rome wasn't built in a day. To build an empire, you need time, you need committed people, and you need people that adhere to the culture. And then it works. Let me have a look. And see if there's any more. SPX6930, the community DCA daily. People do here as well. The only difference is that we don't share it. But I will share it. What I want is those really, really clean screenshots of from Phantom where it says, you know, you bought DJI6930. Then I will share it as well. Just like what happens in the SPX community. Baby Dowge is not going to retire bloodlines. Just get over it. Like, it's just a distraction. Like, people buying Baby Dowge are just so stupid. They don't realize it's just a distraction. Like, it's just like Chainlink and all this lot. They're all distractions. They're all, you know, they're all money drains. They're all attention and money drains of people. You know, people are willingly, stupidly giving their time and attention to things that have no longevity. And it's just a distraction. They end up poorer, right? This is something that is a difference, okay? This is a movement. This is a mission. This is a cult community of which there are very few in cryptocurrency. Very few. Momo is in your chat. No, it's fine. You know, Momo is good. I like Momo. I'm a holder of Momo. So I don't. The only thing is there is a big disparity between Momo and Dowge. A big disparity. They're apples and oranges. They're potatoes and tomatoes. They're completely different. Right? This is good as it's got some narratives that give it some value. You know, it's the first female Shiba Inu. At least in my knowledge, anyway. I can't really remember there being any other female Shiba Inu. So it's pretty cool. Right? So, you know, that's the brand it's creating. Now, is the market ready for such a brand? Well, such uniqueness works. But, I mean, if there were more women in crypto, or girls in crypto, this would take off big time. Without them, it doesn't go as far. So that narrative is it's something that makes it unique, but also something that isn't going to amount to a large amount of pumping. So Momo, I think, Momo's good. It's got a good batch of influencers that push it. And it's a very clean, cute design, great name. It makes a lot of sense. But does it compare to Dowge? No, it doesn't. But they're not the same type of coin. This is a pure meme coin and mascot coin. It's not AI, it's not RWA, it's not faith or belief, it's not movement, it's not mission. It's not really, it doesn't really stand for anything. You know, when you are part of Momo, you are just having another dog coin. Admittedly, this is better than average. But you are just in another dog coin, right? With Dowge, you are in something that equates to Me Too, feminism, Black Lives Matter. Like, this is a movement. And a significant movement, too. Don't come up with any Temu SPX or DJI. It's so dumb. Let me just have a look in the Twitch chat. Sea Dreamer, glad to see you here. Laduca, Tommy, Roald. Oh, the great. It's not a gravestone. Okay, it's a stone plaque. Okay, it's not a gravestone. It's like what the 10 Commandments were written on. What do you mean with faith? Huh? Have you not listened to any of what I've said? All you guys are just coming up with stupid gambles. Baby Momo, Fartless. It's just stupid coins. Like, guys, grow up. Like, the whole point of DJI6930 is to break through the stupidity of gambling and trading. Like, unless you are in a coin that has influencers, you're gonna lose. You're in a casino where the house wins and you lose. Like, why are people too stupid to understand this? Baby Dowge isn't decent. You're an idiot if you think so. Yeah, I wondered that also. Why is Mexi and Weeks not showing on CoinGecko? I don't know. You know, I don't know how manual these things need to be. It is on Mexi. I don't know why you're saying it's not on Mexi. Go on Mexi right now. Search DJI6930 and it's there. You are an idiot if you don't think so. Crypto Queen Amy, good to see you. I get someone shilling. That was a beauty. Come Rocket. Yeah, that was a beauty. There was another one called Come In You. Last market was brilliant, has to be said. Right, okay, I think that's it for today. I don't want to be on too long. I've been on 49 minutes, and that's longer than normal. So what I will say is this: in my personal opinion, you know, Mexi are buying up this, and it's not the only one. Like, I am so entrenched in the Dowge community that I'm belief first. Like, yes, of course, I would love, for Bitmart and a Qcoin and all these Gate to be listing, but that's going to happen in time. That's going to happen in time. And what I like is that MEXC have actually taken the bull by the horns. They are big investors in Dowge at this point. Big investors. And I mean, they've got 6 million tokens, which, let me see what that equates to. They've got 6 million tokens, which at present market value equates to $177,000. That's a big investment at this price level. So, once it goes to a 10x, that's 1.7 million, right? It's easy money, right? And MEXC, this is not some shit exchange like LA token or I don't know. There's loads of shit exchanges that exist. This is a major exchange, right? They are not fucking about. And over time, you're going to get more. BitGet, Bitmart, Gate. And eventually, there'll be Binance and Coinbase. But these will come in time, right? These, they don't just list any old thing, right? And what happened to Dowge's price is actually good, because bouncing back from this is going to make them think, right, this is going to be worthy of listing. They won't list something that has only gone up. They're not going to do that unless they have been, unless it's like Trump or some big name has released a coin. They're never going to be listing coins right off the bat, right? So it's a progression towards it. You have to have the whole journey occurring for it. And that's going to happen with time. So at the end of the day, we are going to go into an up-only phase, and it's only going to be up-only for DJI6930. And in my personal opinion, to $10 at first, and then we're going to be seeing bigger numbers. Till next time, people, thank you very much for turning up. I love you lots. I enjoy the questions, and I will see you next time. It is lights out, all out.